Welcome to Pam Jammer's Regression Tales. We post new stories every week, so be sure to subscribe, like, and share to stay updated. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. The Diapered House Husband. Chapter 1: Moving Back Home. Josh stared out the car window at the looming White House perched at the top of the hill. It was a spotless, imposing structure, much like the woman who owned it. His stomach churned with nerves as he thought about Martha Bergen, his mother-in-law, who had generously offered them a place to stay after his layoff. Generous wasn't the word Josh would have used, though. Practical, maybe. Ruthless, definitely. Martha wasn't the warm, nurturing type. She was tall, thin, and muscular, with razor-sharp cheekbones and pale skin that seemed untouched by sunlight. Her short, jet-black hair framed piercing blue eyes that could strip you bare with a glance. Every interaction with her made Josh feel small and inadequate, and he wasn't looking forward to spending every day under her roof. "She's going to hate me," Josh muttered, breaking the silence. "Don't be ridiculous," his wife, Greta, said with a soft laugh. She reached over to squeeze his hand as he tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "Mom doesn't hate anyone. She's just focused. She's built her business from the ground up. She respects hard work, and she'll respect you, too." Josh wasn't so sure. Martha hadn't exactly hidden her skepticism about him, even before he lost his job. And now, he was moving into her house with no income and a waistline that had grown steadily over the past 6 months of unemployment. "I guess I'll find out soon enough," Josh said as they pulled into the driveway. Martha was already waiting on the porch, her arms crossed over her chest. She wore a crisp white blouse tucked into tailored black slacks, the sharp angles of her collarbones visible beneath the fabric. Her stance, rigid and commanding, left no doubt as to who was in charge here. "Greta." "Joshua," Martha greeted as they stepped out of the car. Her accent was clipped and precise, her voice low but firm. "You are late. I expected you an hour ago." "Sorry, Mama," Greta said breezily, brushing past her to hug her mother. "Traffic." Martha's blue eyes locked onto Josh as he shuffled behind, clutching their suitcases. She looked him up and down, lingering briefly on his rounded midsection before raising an eyebrow. "You have been resting, I see," she said dryly. Josh flushed. Yeah. I mean, I've had some extra time lately." "That ends now," Martha said, her tone leaving no room for argument. "You will find no idle time in this house, Joshua. If you are to live under my roof, you will contribute." "Of course," Josh said quickly. "I'll do whatever you need." "Good," Martha said, turning on her heel. "Then let us get started." Greta showed Josh to their room upstairs, a large but Spartan space with a neatly made bed and a single dresser. Before he could unpack, Martha appeared in the doorway, holding a bundle of folded fabric. She stepped inside without knocking, her heels clicking sharply against the hardwood floor. "This is your uniform," she said, handing him the bundle. "As I said, you will contribute. I am expanding my business, and you will be the first to test my new products." Josh unfolded the bundle, his heart sinking as he recognized a pastel green onesie with snaps along the crotch. Beneath it was a thick, white diaper with a glimmering crinkly backing. "This is part of the uniform?" Josh asked, his voice faltering. "Yes," Martha said matter-of-factly. "The onesie and diaper are foundational pieces of the new product line. You will wear them for extended periods to test fit, comfort, and durability. This feedback is critical to my business." "Mama, maybe give him a second to get used to it," Greta suggested, smiling nervously as she touched Josh's arm. "It's a lot to take in." Martha turned to Greta with a raised eyebrow. "He said he was willing to contribute. That means we begin now. This is not negotiable." She gestured toward the door. "Leave us. I will ensure he is properly prepared." "Mama, Greta began, but Martha silenced her with a look. With an apologetic glance at Josh, Greta left the room, closing the door softly behind her. Josh stood frozen, the diaper and onesie dangling limply in his hands. Mrs. Cooler, Martha, I'm not sure I can. You will, Martha interrupted, her tone calm but firm. Now remove your pants. Josh hesitated, his cheeks burning. This feels a little. Joshua, Martha said, stepping closer. She was at least 6 inches taller than him, and her sharp gaze seemed to pierce through him. This is a business. My business. You will either perform your role professionally, or you will leave my home. Do you understand? Josh swallowed hard and nodded. Why, yes, Mom. Good. She took the diaper from his hands and unfolded it with practiced precision. Lie down on the bed. Feeling like a scolded child, Josh obeyed, lying on his back as Martha stood over him. She slid the diaper under him with clinical efficiency, securing it tightly around his waist. The thick padding forced his legs apart, and the soft crinkling sound made him cringe. Next, she helped him into the onesie, snapping it closed around his crotch. She stepped back, surveying him with a critical eye. Stand up. Josh rose awkwardly, feeling ridiculous as the onesie clung tightly to his body, emphasizing the bulk of the diaper. Martha's sharp gaze swept over him. It fits well enough, she said, nodding. You will wear this until I tell you otherwise. Do not attempt to remove it. I will inspect it later to assess its performance. Josh nodded mutely, his face burning with embarrassment. Now, go downstairs and begin cleaning the kitchen, Martha said, opening the door. Your first feedback session will be after dinner. As Josh shuffled out of the room, the diaper crinkling with every step, he couldn't help but feel that his life had taken a turn he hadn't anticipated. Chapter 2, The First Day. Josh shuffled down the stairs, the crinkling of the diaper beneath his pastel green onesie making him wince with every step. He felt ridiculous, each sound reminding him of the strange new role he'd agreed to take on. At least Martha wasn't watching him just yet. When he reached the kitchen, he found her standing by the counter, her lean frame perfectly upright as she sipped from a tall glass of water. She glanced up when he entered, her sharp blue eyes flicking over him in silent appraisal. Good. You're on time, she said. Start with the counters. There is a cloth and spray bottle by the sink. Clean thoroughly. Yes, Mom, Josh muttered, grabbing the supplies and setting to work. As Josh wiped down the counters, Martha worked at the kitchen table, her laptop open. Occasionally, she glanced up to inspect his progress. Use more pressure, she said at one point. The surface must shine. No streaks. Josh complied without argument. Though her words were blunt, there was no malice in her tone, just unrelenting expectation. Despite the awkwardness of his outfit, he found the clarity of her instructions oddly reassuring. By the time he finished the counters and moved to the floors, he was sweating, partly from exertion and partly from the growing pressure in his bladder. He hadn't gone to the bathroom since they arrived, and the realization hit him with sudden intensity: he didn't have access to a toilet anymore. Greta breezed into the kitchen just as Josh finished mopping, dressed in jeans and a stylish sweater. She gave him a playful smile as she grabbed her bag from the counter. Look at you, she teased, her voice light and amused. Mom's got you all diapered and ready for work. Josh flushed, avoiding her gaze. Just doing my part, he muttered. Greta leaned closer, grinning. Well, don't get a spanking, okay? Josh's face turned crimson. She'd never. Relax, Greta said with a laugh, ruffling his hair. I'm kidding. Mostly. Turning to her mother, she said, I'm meeting the girls for drinks. I'll be back late. Martha nodded, her eyes still on her laptop. Be safe. Greta blew Josh a kiss before heading for the door. Have fun, she called over her shoulder. The door clicked shut, leaving Josh alone with Martha. The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the soft ticking of a nearby clock, and the growing pressure in his bladder. After dinner, Martha led Josh into the living room and motioned for him to stand in front of the couch. Clipboard in hand, she gestured for him to turn around slowly. "Let me see the fit," she said, her voice calm and clinical. Josh did as instructed, his face heating as he felt her sharp eyes scrutinizing every detail of his onesie. The crinkling sound of the diaper beneath only heightened his embarrassment, but that wasn't the worst of it. The pressure in his bladder had reached its breaking point. "Turn again," Martha instructed, her pen poised over the clipboard. As Josh pivoted, he couldn't hold it any longer. His body gave in, and warmth flooded the thick padding between his legs. He froze, mortified. The diaper absorbed everything quickly, but the sensation was unmistakable, and he was certain it would show. "Joshua," Martha said, tilting her head. "Why have you stopped?" Nothing," Josh stammered, resuming his turn. Martha's sharp eyes narrowed slightly, her gaze dropping to the lower half of his onesie. She didn't say anything at first, but her pen moved quickly over the clipboard. "Step closer," Martha said, her tone neutral but commanding. Josh obeyed, each step making the diaper sag slightly. He could feel it, and from the way Martha's gaze lingered on his midsection, it was clear she noticed as well. "You have used the diaper," she said matter-of-factly, her eyes narrowing in assessment. Josh's cheeks flushed deep red. Yeah. I couldn't hold it," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Martha nodded, unbothered by his discomfort. "Good. This is part of the testing process," she said, setting her clipboard aside. "Sit. We will change you now." Josh hesitated but did as instructed, lowering himself onto the ottoman as Martha retrieved a fresh diaper, a pack of baby wipes, a tub of diaper rash cream, and a bottle of baby powder from her bag. "Lie back," she instructed. Josh reclined awkwardly, his face burning as Martha unsnapped the crotch of his onesie, folding the fabric neatly up to his chest. Her movements were efficient and deliberate, her demeanor calm and professional. She peeled the tapes of the used diaper back one by one, the loud sound echoing in the quiet room, and folded the wet padding down to expose his skin. The cool air made him shiver, heightening his sense of vulnerability. Without a word, Martha reached for the pack of baby wipes, pulling out several and methodically wiping him clean. Her touch was firm and precise, ensuring no residue remained. She worked in silence, her focus entirely on the task. "This will prevent irritation," she said, setting the wipes aside and opening the tub of diaper rash cream. She spread a generous amount onto her hands before applying it to his skin, her motions careful but thorough. Josh cringed at the intimate nature of the process but said nothing. Martha's demeanor was so clinical, it was as if she were applying a coat of paint rather than tending to her son-in-law. Once the cream was evenly applied, she reached for the bottle of baby powder, shaking a liberal amount over the area. The scent of powder filled the room, adding an oddly nostalgic quality to the moment. She rubbed it in with the same efficient care, ensuring full coverage. "Lift your hips," she instructed finally, holding the fresh diaper in her hands. Josh complied, raising his hips as Martha slid the new diaper underneath him. She smoothed it out with her palms, adjusting the position until it was perfectly aligned. Pulling the front panel up over his waist, she secured the tapes tightly, one by one, her fingers running along the edges to check for gaps or twists. "Tight, but not too tight," she murmured, giving the front of the diaper a light pat. "This model holds well. We will assess its performance tomorrow." With the change complete, Martha snapped the onesie back into place, smoothing the fabric over his torso before standing. "Up," she said, gesturing for him to rise. Josh stood, the fresh diaper crinkling audibly as he shifted his weight. "Move around," Martha instructed. "I need to see how it fits in motion." Josh took a few awkward steps, feeling the snug fit of the diaper as it shifted slightly with his movements. "Good," Martha said finally, jotting a final note on her clipboard. "Tomorrow, you will test a different design. The prints and colors will rotate as part of the testing process." Josh nodded mutely, relieved that the session was over. As the days passed, Josh found himself adjusting to the routine. Every morning, Martha would change him into a fresh onesie and diaper, each with different designs or colors. Some were simple pastels, others bore phrases like crinkle butt or mommy's little helper. Though he hated the outfits, the structured schedule gave his days a strange sense of purpose. One evening, as he finished vacuuming the living room, Martha handed him a glass of water and gestured for him to sit. "You are adapting well," she said simply, her tone neutral. Josh hesitated, unsure how to respond. "Thanks," he said finally. Martha studied him for a moment, her expression softening slightly. "Discipline and structure create focus," she said. "You are beginning to see this, yes?" Josh nodded. "Yeah. I think I do." Martha's lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile. "Good. Then you will continue to improve." As Josh returned to his room that night, he reflected on her words. Despite the humiliation of his role, he couldn't deny that he felt more useful than he had in months. Chapter 3: A New Routine. Weeks passed, and life in Martha's household became a blur of routine for Joshua. The rigid schedule imposed by his mother-in-law, though embarrassing at first, had slowly become a source of comfort. Each morning began the same way. Martha would come to his room with a fresh diaper and onesie, ready to change him for the day. Her movements were clinical, precise, and devoid of judgment, but Josh still blushed every time he lay back for her to snap the onesie into place and pat the front of his diaper with approval. At first, Josh had dreaded these moments, but as the days wore on, he found himself growing accustomed to them. In fact, he began to feel a strange sense of pride in his role as Martha's product tester. Each outfit, each diaper, was another opportunity to prove his usefulness. Martha's feedback, whether critical or complimentary, gave him purpose in a way he hadn't experienced in months. Greta, meanwhile, found endless amusement in her husband's new life. Her teasing started out light-hearted, comments about his crinkling walk or his babyish onesies, but as time went on, the humor sharpened. "Don't forget to thank Mommy for your diaper," she would quip as Martha handed him his morning uniform. Or, "Joshy, you're getting so good at this, maybe Mom will give you a promotion to head baby." Josh tried to take her teasing in stride, but it became harder as the intimacy between them dwindled. Greta didn't seem bothered by the growing distance between them, as her focus had shifted to her work and frequent outings with her friends. Josh, meanwhile, couldn't help noticing how she avoided touching him, her once affectionate gestures now replaced with pats on the butt or playful smirks. The constant presence of diapers had made any semblance of romance between them feel awkward and, eventually, non-existent. Though Greta still claimed to love him, Josh began to feel less like her partner and more like an amusing sidekick in her busy life. Where Greta's teasing left him flustered, Martha's structure brought him solace. Her household was a well-oiled machine, and Josh's role was clear: test the products and learn the chores. Over time, he grew proficient in everything from scrubbing floors to folding laundry. Martha's training was relentless but fair. She pointed out every mistake with precision, her tone always neutral but firm. "You missed a spot under the cabinet," she would say as he mopped. "Start again. Thoroughness matters." But for every critique, there was also a moment of recognition. "This load of laundry is well folded," she remarked one afternoon, nodding approvingly. "You are improving." Those words, simple and understated, filled Josh with an unexpected sense of pride. He began to crave her approval, working harder to meet her exacting standards. When she smiled faintly or nodded in satisfaction, it felt like a small but significant victory. Josh's adjustment to wearing diapers 24/7 was gradual but inevitable. At first, the sensation was mortifying: the crinkling sound, the bulk between his legs, the knowledge that he was completely reliant on Martha to change him. But as the weeks went by, the diapers became just another part of his routine. The humiliation of using them gradually gave way to practicality. He told himself it was his job to test them, and he took that job seriously. When Martha asked for feedback on fit, absorbency, or comfort, he answered her questions with growing confidence, treating the process with the professionalism she demanded. Even the diaper changes, once a source of acute embarrassment, started to feel normal. Martha's clinical efficiency and calm demeanor made them feel less intimate and more procedural, like any other task in her regimented household. Josh still blushed when she instructed him to lie down or lift his hips, but he no longer dreaded the process. In fact, he found himself quietly proud that he was helping her refine her products, ensuring their success. Though Josh would never admit it out loud, he began to feel a sense of accomplishment in his role. The once foreign world of diapers and onesies had become familiar, even routine. He took pride in being dependable, in following Martha's instructions to the letter. Martha, for her part, seemed to notice his growing confidence. She continued to push him, raising the bar with each passing week, but her rare moments of approval came more frequently now. "You are adapting well," she said one evening as she inspected his work in the kitchen. "Your progress is satisfactory." The words were simple, but they carried weight. Josh felt his chest swell with pride, even as the crinkling sound of his diaper reminded him of his place in her carefully structured world. Chapter 4: An Unexpected Visit. The sound of laughter and cheerful chatter drifted through the front door before it even opened. Josh froze in the hallway, a damp towel in his hand from cleaning the banister. He wasn't expecting visitors, he hadn't even heard Greta come home yet. The door swung open, and Greta burst in with a group of 3 women, all talking loudly and laughing as they stumbled inside. Each carried the buzz of post-game drinks and the energy of a WNBA victory. "This is the place," Greta announced, tossing her bag onto the hall table. Come in. I'll get us drinks." Josh's stomach dropped. His heart raced as he realized he was still wearing his pastel blue onesie, the faint crinkling of his diaper beneath it a constant reminder of his embarrassing uniform. He instinctively backed into the shadows, clutching the towel like a lifeline. "Joshy, you're here," Greta called, her tone light and teasing as always. Her eyes sparkled with mischief as she spotted him. "Come on, don't hide. Come say hi to the girls." The 3 women turned to look at him, their laughter trailing off into surprised silence. Josh stepped forward reluctantly, feeling his cheeks heat as they took in his outfit. "This is Josh," Greta said, her grin wide. "My husband and Mom's full-time helper." The brunette, Kelly, raised an eyebrow and smirked. "Helper, huh? Interesting uniform." Her tone was sharp but playful, her teasing cutting but not mean-spirited. The blonde, Jess, blushed furiously and looked away, her hands fidgeting with the strap of her purse. Tara, the redhead, grinned wickedly and let out a loud laugh. "Well, that's something. Is this your new work attire, Joshy?" "Not quite," Greta said with a smirk, walking over to drape an arm around Josh's shoulders. "Josh helps test my mom's products. He's very dedicated." Josh managed a weak smile, though he wanted nothing more than to disappear. Before Josh could retreat, Greta ushered her friends into the living room, where they sank into the couches, their cheerful energy filling the house. "Joshy, why don't you bring us some snacks?" Greta called from the couch. Josh nodded stiffly, heading for the kitchen. His face burned as he heard the women whispering and giggling behind him. He knew they were talking about him, about his outfit, his role, everything. The sound of their laughter echoed in his ears as he opened a cupboard to grab some chips. When he returned to the living room with a tray of snacks, Kelly grinned. "Well, at least you're a good host," she teased, reaching for a bowl. "So, what else do you do around here, Joshy? Any other special skills?" Josh mumbled something under his breath, trying not to meet her gaze, but Tara had already taken her teasing to another level. "Come over here, Joshy," Tara said, her tone playful but commanding. "Let me check if you pooped your pants." Josh froze, his face burning. I didn't." "Don't be shy," Tara said, standing and crossing the room toward him. She reached out and gave his diapered bottom a firm pat. She said, pretending to think. Feels dry. But let's make sure. She gave his padding a squeeze, her boldness making him wish the floor would swallow him whole. Tara, Jess said, her face redder than ever. That's. Stop embarrassing him. Why? He's fine, Tara said with a grin, patting his bottom again. Besides, isn't this part of his job? Gotta make sure he's performing well. Kelly laughed from the couch, clearly enjoying the show. Joshie, you're a real champ for putting up with all this. Josh felt his knees lock as Tara finally stepped back, though her teasing continued throughout the evening. Every time he walked by, she'd swat his diapered bottom or give it another squeeze, loudly declaring, still dry. Or, you'd better not be hiding anything, Joshie. For Josh, the night became an endurance test. While he wasn't used to holding it in anymore, Martha's rigid schedule had trained him to use the diapers without a second thought. He was determined not to wet himself in front of Greta's friends. The thought of Tara finding out he was wet sent a wave of humiliation through him, and he clenched his muscles, praying they wouldn't betray him. Every teasing comment, every squeeze from Tara, only made the pressure worse. By the time the women finally stood to leave, his legs were trembling from the effort. You were a great host, Joshie, Kelly said with a wink as they walked toward the door. Thanks for everything, Jess added quietly, her blush still visible as she avoided his gaze. Tara, as bold as ever, gave him one last pat on the butt. Next time, don't make me do all the work, okay? If you're wet, let me know. Josh managed a weak smile as they left, collapsing onto the couch the moment the door shut behind them. The moment he heard their car pull away, Josh couldn't hold it any longer. He let out a shaky breath as warmth spread through his diaper, the tension in his body finally releasing. It was embarrassing, but at least he hadn't done it in front of Greta's friends. Martha appeared in the doorway a moment later, her clipboard in hand. Guests are gone? She asked, her tone calm. Yeah, Josh muttered, his face still red. Good. Time to change, she said, motioning for him to follow her to his room. Josh lay back as Martha unsnapped his onesie, her movements as efficient and clinical as ever. She peeled back the tapes of his now wet diaper and began wiping him clean with baby wipes. You handled yourself well tonight, she said as she worked. I heard them teasing you. Josh winced. Yeah. They did. Martha nodded, spreading a generous amount of cream onto his skin before shaking powder over the area. You are doing your job, she said simply, sliding a fresh diaper under him and securing it with practiced ease. That is what matters. Her words, though simple, gave Josh a strange sense of pride. Even after such an embarrassing evening, her approval mattered more than he cared to admit. Chapter 5, Learning to Serve. The first time Greta's friends showed up had been a shock for Joshua, but now, a few weeks later, their visits had become a regular occurrence. After nearly every WNBA game, the trio would arrive at the house, loud and cheerful from drinks and the post-game high, their laughter filling the space the moment they walked through the door. Josh had come to expect it, even prepare for it. He knew what drinks each of them preferred. Kelly liked a bold red wine, Jess preferred a crisp cider, and Tara always asked for a vodka soda with extra lime. He also knew their snack preferences. Kelly favored chips and salsa, Jess liked mixed nuts, and Tara, with her bold personality, always teased him to bring her anything with chocolate, Joshie. Though their teasing remained relentless, Josh had adapted. He greeted them at the door, hung up their jackets, and prepared their drinks without needing to ask. If anything, his growing efficiency only gave them more opportunities to tease him. Kelly's sharp wit and verbal teasing kept Josh on his toes. Look at you, Joshie, she said one evening, watching him waddle back into the living room with a tray of drinks. Such a good little host. Do you practice your crinkly walk in the mirror? Jess, as always, blushed at Kelly's jokes, her shy smile betraying her discomfort. Kelly, stop, she murmured, though her gaze lingered on Josh as he set the tray down. Tara, however, remained the boldest. Her teasing was far more physical, and Josh could never escape her scrutiny. "Come here, Joshie," she called one night, patting the seat next to her. "Let me check if you need mommy." Josh froze, clutching a bowl of pretzels. "I'm fine," he said quickly. "Oh, I'll be the judge of that," Tara said, grabbing his wrist and pulling him closer. She patted his bottom and gave it a firm squeeze. Still dry. For now." The girls laughed, though Jess buried her face in her hands. "You've got nerves of steel, Joshie," Kelly said, smirking. "If I were you, I'd have quit this job weeks ago." Josh's cheeks burned, but he managed a weak smile before retreating to the kitchen. Though Josh had grown somewhat accustomed to the teasing, the evenings still left him drained. On several occasions, he'd been unable to hold it and wet himself while serving the girls. Each time, Tara was the first to notice. "Oh, Joshie," she announced one evening, patting his bottom with exaggerated flair. "I think we've got a soggy situation here." Josh's face turned scarlet as the girls erupted in laughter, and he looked to Greta, silently pleading for intervention. But Greta, sipping her drink, only smirked. "Martha," Tara called toward the hallway. "Joshie needs you." Martha appeared moments later, her usual calm demeanor unshaken. "Joshua, come," she said simply, motioning for him to follow her. Josh always felt a flood of relief as she led him to his room. Though the process of being changed was still embarrassing, it was infinitely better than enduring the girls' teasing. His room, with Martha's efficient, no-nonsense presence, had become a place of comfort, a small sanctuary from the chaos of the living room. Martha never commented on the girl's behavior. She simply changed him with her usual efficiency, cleaning him with wipes, applying cream and powder, and securing a fresh diaper in place. "Do not linger," she said one evening as she snapped his onesie closed. "They will only tease more if you are gone too long." Josh nodded, grateful for her consistency, and returned to the living room with as much composure as he could muster. Over the weeks, Josh also noticed how much better he'd become at managing the household. Martha's rigorous training had sharpened his skills, and she acknowledged his progress in her own reserved way. "You have improved at dusting," she noted one afternoon, inspecting the baseboards. "The edges are clean. That is acceptable." Though her compliments were always understated, they made Josh swell with pride. He worked hard to meet her high standards, knowing how rare her approval was. By now, he could clean the house from top to bottom without missing a single detail. His laundry folding was crisp and precise, his cooking consistent and efficient, and his ability to anticipate Martha's needs had earned him a level of trust he hadn't realized he craved. One evening, as Martha finished changing him into his nighttime diaper and onesie, she gave him a firm look. "I'm expanding my product line," she said matter-of-factly. "I've placed the orders," Martha continued, smoothing the front of his onesie. "The samples should arrive within 2 weeks." As he settled into his bed for the night, he reflected on how much his life had changed. Greta had moved into another guest room recently because the crinkle of his diaper was keeping her up at night. Josh nodded, stifling a yawn. He didn't mind the idea of testing new products. In fact, he felt a certain pride in knowing Martha valued his feedback. Chapter 6: The New Products. It was a Saturday afternoon, and the house buzzed with activity. Greta and her friends arrived shortly after the WNBA game, their voices loud and cheerful as they spilled through the front door. Josh, already bracing himself for their teasing, greeted them with a tray of drinks he had prepared in advance. "Joshie," Kelly called as she kicked off her sneakers. "You're getting faster at this. We should give you a raise." "Or a thicker diaper," Tara added, grinning as she grabbed her usual vodka soda. Josh flushed, murmuring a polite greeting before retreating toward the kitchen. He'd grown used to these visits, but their energy always left him flustered. Not long after the girls settled into the living room, the doorbell rang again. Josh paused mid-step, confused, as Martha strode past him to answer the door. "Ah, perfect timing," she said, stepping aside as a deliveryman wheeled in several large boxes. "What's all that?" Greta asked, peeking over the couch. "New products for testing," Martha replied simply, her tone as calm and precise as ever. The girls perked up immediately. "Testing? For Joshi?" Kelly asked, her smirk already forming. Martha nodded. "Yes. Joshua, come here." Josh approached reluctantly, his stomach twisting as the girls crowded around the boxes. Tara ripped into the nearest one with enthusiasm, pulling out a pastel pink dress with a flared skirt and lace trim. "Oh my God," she said, holding it up. "This is adorable. Joshi has to try this on." "Absolutely," Kelly agreed, already rummaging through another box. Inside, she found the next item, a thick diaper, noticeably bulkier than the ones Josh had been wearing. She held it up for everyone to see, the plastic backing crinkling loudly. "And look at this. It's huge." Jess, as usual, blushed but couldn't suppress a small giggle. "He's not going to be able to walk in that," she murmured. Tara grinned wickedly. "Perfect. And what's this?" She pulled out a pacifier with a strap attached. "Oh, Joshi, you're going to look adorable." Josh stood frozen, his face burning as the girls laughed and teased him. He turned to Martha, silently pleading for help. "Joshua," she said firmly, breaking through the noise. "Come with me." He exhaled a breath of relief as she led him down the hall to his room. In the privacy of his room, Martha worked efficiently as always. She laid out the new items on the bed before instructing Josh to lie down. "The products are designed for maximum comfort and durability," she explained as she removed his current diaper. Josh didn't reply, too embarrassed to speak. The new diaper felt impossibly thick as she slid it under him and secured it in place, the padding forcing his legs apart so much that he couldn't bring his knees together. Next came the dress. Martha pulled it over his head, adjusting the hem and smoothing the fabric over his shoulders. The skirt barely covered the top of his diaper, leaving it completely exposed when he moved. Finally, she held up the pacifier. "Open," she instructed. Josh hesitated but obeyed, wincing as she strapped it securely around his head. "Stand," she said, stepping back to inspect him. Josh wobbled slightly as he got to his feet, the thick diaper making it impossible to walk without a pronounced waddle. Martha adjusted the dress one final time before nodding. "Go back to the living room," she said. "They are waiting." The girls erupted into laughter the moment Josh reappeared. "Oh my God, Joshi," Tara said, clapping her hands. "You look like a toddler at a tea party." "Spin for us," Kelly added, smirking. Josh shuffled awkwardly, his cheeks blazing as the girls teased and cooed over him. Tara, of course, couldn't resist taking things further. "Come here," she said, patting her lap. "Sit down, Joshi. Let me take care of you." Before he could protest, she pulled him onto her lap and produced an adult-sized baby bottle filled with juice she had rummaged from the order. Tara removed his pacifier. "Drink up," she said, holding the bottle to his lips. The other girls laughed as Josh reluctantly sucked on the bottle, his face a deep shade of red. Tara cooed mockingly, bouncing her knees slightly as if rocking him. "You're such a good little baby," she teased. Jess helped strap the pacifier back on as she blushed deeply. The afternoon dragged on with more of the same, the girls finding endless amusement in Josh's new outfit and his waddling attempts to serve them drinks and snacks. By the time the girls finally left, Josh was utterly exhausted. He waddled to the kitchen to clean up the mess, grateful for the silence that followed their departure. When he returned to his room, however, he stopped in his tracks. His bed was gone. In its place stood a large crib, its high sides equipped with locking rails and straps at each corner. Martha entered behind him, holding a fresh diaper and a footed sleeper. "Your new sleeping arrangement," she said matter-of-factly. The crib ensures safety and security during the night. Josh stared at it, stunned. But my bed? He muffled through his pacifier. Removed, Martha replied, motioning for him to lie down. Josh obeyed, lying back as Martha slid off his dress and removed his diaper. The new one she unfolded was a nighttime diaper even thicker than the one he'd worn earlier, its bulk forcing his legs apart even more. After applying cream and powder, Martha secured the diaper tightly before helping him into a pink sleeper. The fabric covered his entire body, mittens included, leaving only his head exposed. Lift your arms, she instructed, securing the straps around his wrists and ankles once he was in the crib. Finally, she tightened the pacifier, strapping it firmly placed before leaning down to kiss his forehead. "Good night, Joshua," she said, raising the crib's side rail and locking it into place. As she turned off the light and left the room, Josh lay there in the dark, the thick padding between his legs and the snug fit of the sleeper reminding him of his new reality. Though the day had been humiliating, he couldn't help but feel a strange sense of comfort in the structure Martha provided. For better or worse, this was his life now. Thanks so much for watching today. We hope you enjoyed this week's story and found it relatable, informative, or just a little comforting. Remember, we post new videos every week, so if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. If you found this helpful or know someone who might, don't forget to like the video and share it with your community. Your support means everything and helps us keep creating content just for you. Until next time, take care and stay true to yourself.